All right. Hey, everybody. Seems we may still be missing a few people. But we're going to go ahead and get this started. Since it's already 3 minutes past 2. I'm taking over for Zoar today. So, just going to walk through a couple cold calling items and just going to kind of take questions from you guys today on, what all you're seeing whenever you're cold calling, any objections that you're having when you're cold calling. And so we're going to kind of walk through that today to try to help you guys out with that, because you're all going through the same thing. Everybody should be cold calling. This is really going to help you whenever you do get out of the SkillBridge program to really set up your business. And so that's really going to help you with, being able to talk to prospective clients and, get that experience cold calling, because a lot of realtors, no matter if you're introvert or extrovert, probably agree that cold calling is the most scary thing that you could probably ever do in your real estate business. But it's funny because it's going to be the bread and butter of your business. And you're going to need to know this skill because you're going to need to know how to convert those clients or those leads into clients. And so this is definitely going to be a skill that you are going to use or going to need to use in your business. And so that skill set is definitely something that you're going to want to learn. And so this is, basically your learning curve, right? Because you're in the SkillBridge program. If you're unlicensed, there's definitely, nothing really like that's going to, it's a good trial period for you because there's not really anything on the line. You're not at risk from being cut from the SkillBridge program. This is really just to help you guys with getting your skills up. So that way you do know how to talk to clients whenever you're out there, on your own, whether you're on a team or not. This is going to be something that, can get you hired onto a team because of the skill set. And now they know that, like, hey, Jackson knows how to talk to clients, and, talk to leads over the phone, and understands that, sometimes it's not fun. Sometimes you get cursed out by people. Sometimes they hang up on you without you even saying anything. You're just like, hi, this is Jackson. And then they hang up on you. Or you could even say hi and they're like, who's this? Why are you calling me? And so really like honing in those skills and getting used to those things and used to, people getting mad at you for absolutely no reason. And so that's really going to help you with building up that skill set so that way you can apply it. And so the way it's not something so scary whenever you are outside of this program and you're trying to build up your business and, make the income. And, with not having a stable income, after the SkillBridge program, there's, you're going to want to definitely, figure out what you're going to do for business, especially if you're going to do it full-time, not part-time. That's definitely a skill set. Even if you're going to do it part-time, that's still a skill set, and so I wanted to walk through, because I think that there may be some steps that some people are missing on the Google document. And so if you guys have it handy, go ahead and pull it up alongside me. Let me do a screen share. Or actually, there's not really any reason why to do a screen share. Conrad, I don't know if you want to go find it, pop it in the SkillBridge channel again, just to make sure people can access it quickly. And so I'll just give it a minute for him to do that. Because I did notice that there was one specific step that was being skipped, that David had put out in the Google document. And so if you guys look on the sheet where it says prerequisites, on the prerequisites, it says access to Vulcan 7 through LastPass. I do know some of you have had issues with accessing Vulcan 7. LastPass is giving some of you issues. So if that's you, I know Chase is on here. I know he's been having some issues. So barring any issues like that we're currently trying to work through, everybody should already have access through through LastPass for Vulcan 7. So that's where you're going to access that. LastPass is just a password sharing tool, allows us to give you guys access to that. And then the biggest step that was skipped was scheduling your calling session via the Calendly link. And so if you look at the prerequisites up there, there's a Calendly link, and you guys will need to make sure that you're going in there and blocking out your time for the 60-minute call session. So if you're not doing that, please make sure that you're doing that. That's the first step that you need to do to grab that spot, because we need to make sure that you're not all overlapping whenever you're in there in Vulcan 7. No, I'm just gonna stop right here. Does anybody have any questions so far? Like who's had issues? Anybody have issues?
I did when I was doing my calls, Tasha, I did have like when I was going in for my hour, had like an overlap where I couldn't access because someone was already making their calls. So I did run into that issue.
Okay. Because when I looked in there, it didn't show as if anybody had booked it. So would you do me a favor, Jackson, while we're on the call? Can you go like just pick any time, doesn't matter what time, and try to book it and see if it allows you to book it? So the way I can kind of, do troubleshooting for that to see if it's working right on my side as well, because I went back for the last week and it doesn't look like anybody has scheduled, even though I know you guys are putting on your accountability when you're checking out. You guys are putting that you did make the calls. However, it didn't show on that SkillBridge booking, the cold calling calendar, that there was anybody on there. So not sure why that is. But if you guys have been doing that, have you guys been doing that? Maybe it's not showing right on my side. Yes, no. Are you supposed to pay for a LastPass subscription? No. So Sierra, if you go to the Google document, it shows you how to get access for LastPass, but LastPass should be a free account. It shouldn't make you pay for it. We've been using LastPass for a few years now. But yeah, no, it shouldn't cause you to like have to pay for it.
Excuse me, Tasha. So on my end, it's showing that I booked the 10 a.m. slot.
Okay, for today or tomorrow?
For the 24th. It won't let me touch today.
Oh yeah, because we're already past that time.
It doesn't normally let you book for the day of. It'll let you book for the
doesn't?
next day. No.
Hmm.
You have to book it like the day before, and pick whatever time slots are open. But even without the time slot, I know I'm guilty of it. I'll go in there and still make some calls. So
Okay. Well, it's better that you're in there making the calls, but I just want to make sure everybody was going by that Calendly. But it sounds like, yeah, I would like for you guys to be able to book same day. Let me talk to David and make sure that we're on the same page with that.
Tasha, that's fine. I think it's probably
okay.
just the way that we've got the Calendly set up to block them out for 24 hours, so it's not a last minute booking. But if we want to change those Calendly restrictions, that's fine. If people are able to go in and they see that they've got some spare time in a day to jump on and do some more calls.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with that. Jackson, I'm sorry, what did you say for which day?
So on my end of the Google Doc, the link it takes me to, on the 24th, it says that I've booked 10 a.m. It reflects on my end. So for tomorrow, it shows that I booked 10 a.m.
For the 25th, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't show on my end. we had actually blocked off so that way 10 a.m. wasn't available. So I don't know why. Yeah, it's not showing as if anything was booked at all. Can you send me a screenshot of that, Jackson, and send it to me in Slack? Okay, thank you. All right, so let's move on a little bit. If you guys do have any questions regarding troubleshooting and you've already gone through and tried to figure out the answer, either in Vulcan 7 or LastPass, you guys can always shoot us a question about that. Just make sure you've already tried, everything before you reach out to us. Because I know some of you, like Chase, has had problems with trying to get that set up. I don't know what's going on with LastPass. LastPass is a pain sometimes, because it'll act like it just isn't like that you've set up, you're trying to set up an account. So, all right, so moving on. So tell me a little bit about raise of hands, and this isn't like gonna get you in trouble or anything. Raise of hands, who has started making cold calls? Okay. You guys want to unmute yourselves and tell us a little bit about what your experience has been so far, what kind of objections you are getting, and what kind of conversations that you're having?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can say how my experience has been. I think I've done it like probably about like 4 times now. Um, it's it's been pretty rough, honestly. Uh, I'll get through like maybe like if they answer, I'll get through like maybe one sentence of my script, and then like I'll go back to the tab for the calls, and I'll be like, oh, they just hung up on me. Or I've gotten some pretty rude people who have been like, why am I on a recorded line? Like why are you doing this? And I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
it's for your safety and mine. Like, uh, and then, they just angrily hang up on me. So that's that's pretty much how like the conversations have gone. It's either hang up, uh, I'm not selling at this time, or just angry that they're being recorded.
gotcha. And those of you who has experienced those same things as Brandon has, does anybody want to give any constructive criticism as to what he could do differently? So the way I'm not doing it solely?
The best advice I could probably add is I've been making calls since, gosh, probably since I started the program, since the beginning of February. Uh, you're almost never going to get a yes on the first objection. I don't think it's happened to me yet. Matter of fact, I don't get a lot of yeses. I think the stats are it takes 5 to 7 no's to get to a yes. So you just got to find out how to figure out how to get around their objections or handle their objections in a way where they feel like they've been heard. And you can kind of continue on with your script if that makes sense. Because if they don't feel like you're hearing them, right? If they don't feel like you're hearing them and you understand where they're coming from, they're not going to talk to you. I usually don't get hung up on super early. I've been called an idiot once, even though I didn't even say anything to her. She answered the phone, said idiot, and then hung up the phone. So, just depends on the person, but figuring out handling their objection in a way where they feel like they've been heard. You understand what they're saying is probably the best way to keep them on the phone.
I don't, you were pretty low for, like, your volume was pretty low, Lonnie. I don't know if everybody else experienced the same thing. But
Gotcha. I'll go
I
into
got
my
the gist
settings
of
and
what
see
you
if I
said.
can mess with it.
Adding on to that, I've also only been able to do a few sessions, and like Brandon said, it's been very rough. But what I've noticed too is, yeah, I just try to have a conversation with them. I kind of try to take it out of my mind that's like, hey, this is a sales pitch, or I'm trying to get a client, or something like that. And rather this just try to put it in my head that's like, hey, I'm gonna try to get to know this person, have a genuine conversation with them. Though it hasn't been fully successful, I've noticed that the few conversations that I have been able to have um been longer, rather than just I'm not interested in hanging up. I've had my fair share of those. Um, but I've been able to at least get them to talk. And there was one that said that, after I got talking, he's like I'm not he was like an older guy, he's like retired, he's like I just want to sell the house, I'm not interested in anything crazy. He's like, if you have a buyer, I am more than willing to work with you. But he's like, other than that, then just not trying to do anything crazy, which is definitely much bigger progress than someone just saying you're an idiot and hanging up. So so that's kind of my thing, is just try to have a conversation with them and try to get it out of the front of your head that you're trying to sell something to them or trying to pick them up as a client. So I guess see them more as a person rather than a client is my 2 cents.
Right. And yeah, that's perfect because really you're just trying to solve a problem for them, right? And so, that's good advice because it's like you're not, if you're like, I'm just trying to get a sale, I'm just trying to set up an appointment. Yeah, that should be in the back of your mind, but really you're just trying to problem solve for them. Like, what are they dealing with right now? Do they need to sell? Do they need to buy? Like, what's their situation? What are they going through? And so really, yeah, you're just trying to have that first conversation. And if you do notice that people are hanging up on you from the get-go, one, I've got to preface it with most people don't want people cold calling them. Most people don't want that anyway, so it has nothing to do with you. And so really learning to, and you only learn this after, practice, but learning to separate yourself from that person getting mad and hanging up. It could feel very personal when somebody does that, right? But really kind of detaching yourself from what they're saying to you. If they start screaming at you, if they start cursing at you, that has nothing to do with you. That has nothing to do with even your abilities. You're really like building up that skill set in what you're dealing with, Brandon. I love that you're dealing with that because that's exactly what everybody is afraid of whenever they're first starting to cold call. So I love that because that's going to get that fear out of the way for you. And, you don't have, there's very, very low risk. Somebody's just going to hang up on you. At least right now, you don't have to make a sale, right? So you're getting the experience. You're getting, knocked down and bruised because, you're just trying to solve somebody's problem. They don't know that yet, right? They don't know who Brandon is. They don't know, what you're set out to do for them. And so it's a very low risk at this point whenever you're cold calling somebody because it's just getting that skill set built up and getting that muscle built up and that thick skin where if somebody starts yelling at you or whatever, you're just like, have a good day, bye. And then you just move on to the next one. And I think that as you do it, the way that you get over that is not only repetition, but it's also whenever you get that first appointment, you forget about everything negative that has happened with cold calling. That first time you get an appointment, that first time somebody responds positively, you're like, oh yes, this is awesome. Like you get motivation, like extra motivation, and be like, oh, okay. And then all of the no's from there. And I'm not saying that it won't hurt, but it'll hurt less and you'll learn to move on a lot quicker. So that way you can't make more. Like, how hard was it for you to move on every time somebody hung up on you or every time somebody yelled at you?
At least for the times like people were like yelling at me, I was like, all right, like I think I just need to take a break for a few minutes. Like it's it's not a great feeling being yelled at. Even like, spending like I don't know, like 7 years in the army, like even like in a place where like you do get yelled at a lot, like it's I don't know, it's you don't like it, even though like I guess you've gotten used to it, but I don't know. It's not the best feeling, that's for sure. So
What
yeah, like usually like I take a few minutes just to like I guess gather myself again just in case somebody like would pick up after I made a few more calls. And yeah, it's pretty much it. That's how I roll, I guess.
Yeah, what I would say on that is it's important to keep in mind that it's not you that's causing them to yell. It's whatever lice or cuss you out or whatever. It's whatever life situation they're in, all the other people that have called before you, whatever, right? You're just calling to solve a problem. And I can tell you from experience that even when you do a great job at solving problems, even when they're clients, sometimes you'll get clients that'll yell at you or try to fire you, even though you got them exactly what they wanted because they're mad and angry and you're the person they can take it out on. And the most recent example I have of that was a divorcing couple where it was a nasty divorce. There was a mistress, there was all that stuff. And we got them everything they wanted with an all cash buyer. And because the all cash buyer was 2 days late to closing, the husband basically started cussing me out and wanted to fire us as their realtors, telling his soon to be ex-wife we should fire these people that are not understanding, hey, we're under agency relationship, you have an accepted offer, like we're closing regardless, right? um, but sometimes you just have to be that punching bag, unfortunately, for people because of the life situation that they're in now. That being said, you can obviously create your standards, your borders, all that type of stuff. You can choose to fire clients, right? That's totally within your rights. But when you are cold calling, you're going to get people that pick up that are just angry for whatever reason. And you're the person on the other end of the phone that they can convey that anger to. And unfortunately, that's part of the cold calling drill. Um, I would say from, masterminding with colleagues and everything else, like you'll get a little bit less of that, I think, if you're in person door knocking because you're on their door and they can say, hey, not interested and shut it politely, whatever. But most people aren't going to cuss you out in person, right? If you show up, now you're an actual human being in front of them as opposed to a voice on the other end of the phone. So, but it is important as you do it, like your mental health is super important, right? Your personal health is super important. This career field does have a lot of stress. So it is important to be able to sort of stop for a minute, gather yourself if you need to, and then get back into that right mindset before you make the right call, the next call. Because you're not doing anyone any favors if you're in a negative mindset from that call and you're down and you're trying to call the next person, your down energy is going to convey, right? You could have someone that's ready to go. You're the perfect match for them to solve their problem. But if you come with that negative energy from the previous call, it's going to destroy that call as well. So Brandon, I think the approach that you're taking is a good approach. And again, you always got to protect your mental health as you're going through all this stuff.
And the other thing is that for most of you, if not all of you, this is your first time making cold calls ever in your life. And, Brandon, I think you said it was only your fourth time. So it just gets better from here, not worse. All right, what other challenges are you guys facing? Like, what have you faced this past week? Either with cold calling or otherwise? Anybody?
Clark, you're going through challenges. Talk about 60-50 for a minute.
Right. So I have a condo that I'm working on, and I am trying to get it to close, but there are some stipulations that I didn't see coming as far as things that are in the bylaws for closing on the condo. So if you're going for a condo, you have to, and as a VA buyer, they have to have pre-approval process. Now, there's a website where you can check to see if something's on the pre-approval list, and if it's not on there, then there's a process that you go through. It's typically 3 to 4 weeks at tops to get the process, but ours took a little bit longer. I want to say it's because there was a holiday and spring break in there as well. So I think that kind of delayed things. And so it's closer to taking almost 6 weeks to get approved. Well, today we got a response back saying that they're not approving it. And so there's another process in that part. And I think what David was talking about earlier is that, you can have people that kind of can get frustrated. And you got to kind of manage those. For me, the only person that's really truly getting frustrated in the process is another agent. So, maintaining that relationship with that other agent, because they have like backup offers and things like that. You just, you just kind of work those skills in, and trying to make sure you maintain good rapport, hear people out. And I think that's one of the things I heard earlier is always good. It doesn't matter, whether it's cold calling or warm talking. You actually have a warm body in front of you. It's always good to let the other person speak, completely hear them, completely understand where they're coming from, and then offer up solutions. So definitely working out all my skills there to kind of get that addressed and get those things situated. But it is for me, what has always been an issue is just like trying to stay committed to finding the time, or not finding the time, but sticking to the time. So I might start on a cold call, but then 2, 3 things come up because I had 2 things that I'm trying to close, which one I successfully closed last week. But when you have multiple going on at the same time and you're learning, so my challenge is always not jumping to the next thing. So as soon as something comes up, then I get a call from a lender, I get a call from a selling agent, and then I've also started shadowing, and so technically I got 3 people that I'm helping all at the same time, 3 different clients, and it's never ending. So it's like there's always something coming up and always something to do. And then you add the fact that I'm trying to learn at the same time, so I may have to ask a question, follow back up, and then keep up with track with all the stuff. So like my biggest issue has always been bringing in that balance to control the time when you have multiple deals on the table, and none of them have gone smoothly. All of them have had a challenge, whether it be with the customer and the client, or it be with the approval process loan, or it be something going on with the house. So it's never ending.
Yeah, you're on the roller coaster that is real estate.
But yeah, it's been fun. I mean, it's definitely stressful as far as the amount of stuff that has to be done, but I think it comes down to mentality. I had an expectation that I was kind of just going to come in and just learn stuff and kind of go through this pretty chill process of learning, but I had to readjust that. I had to just get back into my grind, into my mental mode of where I'm grinding, and then I adjusted. But mentality to me is always it's everything, because if you're taking things in and you're not allowing yourself the time to process it, then it can become frustrating and overwhelming. So I love what the young man talked about just a pause. That's the beauty about real estate. You do have that flexibility to take some time here and there. Unlike some jobs where walking away, you might have to just sit in it for a little bit. But the good thing about what we do is we can pause. Somebody can wait an hour most of the time for a response. So you kind of gather yourself, get yourself to think things through, ask, phone a friend, phone anybody. Call me. I don't know a whole lot, but I'm great at listening. So I think that's critical and extremely important. And I think that's the one benefit of the team is you can reach out to people. Okay, I
Thank
think
you
I
for
said
sharing
enough.
that. Appreciate it. I think you're going through, you know, the roller coaster of real estate, and then you're also, you know, trying to learn at the same time. So you got, you know, the usual case where realtors are going through, like, you know, going through deals and not having enough time to prospect, and then, you know, add in it that you're trying to learn, and then, you know, everything else that's going on in your life, right? So it's, you know, it can be a lot and it can be overwhelming, but just know that you're not alone, and that most of us go through that, if not all of us go through that same thing. So, you know, learning, you got to start somewhere, you know, and being resourceful is definitely important in real estate. And if you're not a resourceful person, learn to be a resourceful person. If you don't know, ask somebody, right? So, and I think that you know, you already know that, Clark. And so definitely appreciate you also, you know, volunteering, like, hey, you know, if you need something, you can reach out to me. And I like, you know, they said, you know, you can be a listening ear, right? And so, but yeah, thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. All right, what else, guys? Who is going through challenges right now? And does everybody know how to use or like go through that Google Doc? Any questions on that?
Tasha, it's Chris. I had one quick question for you.
Go
I
ahead.
know that you and David were contemplating maybe getting a Vulcan 7 callback number. I was just curious if you guys were going to go down that road or not.
Yeah, so I actually just created it. I'm going to be putting it out to the team here within about half hour, 45 minutes probably, to see who on our direct team wants to be on that call chain, because essentially it'll ring everyone's phones at the same time when someone calls back. And these are essentially people at least raising their hand, right? That this is a legit individual. Someone's tried to call them from SkillBridge. They're trying to return the call. Who knows what their intent is as far as real estate goes, but at least it's someone that's going to be on the other end of the phone. And so the plan is, if we can get enough agents on that, at least we'll just have it go to one centralized callback number to the team instead of making you guys go in and change it each time. That's the current plan. Again, we can shift back if we need to, but it's just having everyone follow the instructions. I did delete my my personal cell phone out of there for a callback, so I don't get calls anymore. So now it'll require other people to pick them, but other folks that have gone in and done calls already and put their number in, it could default to theirs, right? If someone doesn't set it up properly. So we are working through that and appreciate that input and thought as we had the conversation last week.
David, did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, so I'll hit a couple things. One, don't think that just because you come into this business and you get in the business for 5 or 10 years that you're going to be devoid of problems, because they never go away. They're just different problems with different people at different times. We do have great flexibility in this work. Obviously, we did a weekend trip this week to get away, see past clients and friends in Panama City Beach, went up through Gainesville to see family. On the flip side, the work can expand into personal life, as we all know. And so Friday, I think I spent about 7 hours on the phone back and forth with the sellers that we're representing and the unrepresented buyers that they found, for the sellers to be able to save some commission. And the unrepped buyers did not heed our guidance earlier in the week and did not sign an addendum to authorize them early access. And then their lender did not close on time. And then on top of that, the county pulled, LA County is a stickler for any SkillBridge insurance in LA County. They're a stickler on everything being absolutely perfect to record the deed. And so they pulled the recording on Friday, and you can only do recording by electronic setup now. So you can't walk in and do same day. So they pulled the deed on Friday because the notary's stamp had a smudge on the T. And so the clients lost closing on the home on Friday. Escrow and mortgage had to rebalance all the documents for the prorations. They closed on Monday, but the buyers again went against our guidance, and they were being kicked out of their current rental, the rental that they've been in for a while, on Saturday, and we're going to have no place to live. And so that became 7 hours of back and forth of our time, because they didn't listen earlier in the week and take the proactive approach that we recommended. But definitely not fun. You know, we got through it. We were able to get to a successful resolution where the sellers felt protected. The buyers were able to get early access. But, you know, like Clark was talking about, I mean, I can tell you throughout our entire, we've done over 300 transactions at this point. I don't remember any of them that went 100% perfect according to plan. Even with cash buyers, there's always some hurdle that comes up, some challenge, something unexpected, right? And so you can do your best to prepare your clients for it. Whether or not they listen is another story. But you are going to have to be flexible in how you respond, be able to think outside the box, or if you don't have that skill set yet or the knowledge yet, have people to reach out to do that. Right. And so for us, for our team members, that's myself and Tasha. For Tasha and I working through stuff, it's based upon our experience. And if it's outside our capabilities, it's going to our colleagues that have done even more deals than us, or going to our brokers. Right. Some of the, like California broker, one of them has been in the business 30 years. So you're never going to, you know, get to a spot where you don't have any challenges in this industry. Each deal, again, you know, tends to have some issues along the way. I personally enjoy complex problem solving. I just don't enjoy when someone doesn't listen to guidance where I was proactively problem solving. It could have saved everyone the heartache. And then we ended up spending 7 hours when it should have been a 15-minute thing on Tuesday that week instead of a 7-hour thing on Friday. So yeah, so there's that aspect. Let's see what else. Clark talked about the VA approval process. I would highly recommend, if you haven't already done this within SkillBridge, familiarize yourself with that if you're going to help VA buyers at all. It's very important to understand what that means, and it's specifically for condos and townhomes. There are resources within our group, if you will, if the complex is not VA approved, to be able to go get it approved. The other thing I wanted to touch on is, so cold calling for you guys, you know, you're not allowed to make any money while you're in the internship, right? We all know that. But I think you guys have a great opportunity to set yourself up to make some money pretty close after you complete the internship. If you hit the cold calls hard, and then you get referrals out of it, right? You get people that want to do business if you're licensed. So this is for licensed folks I'm talking to. And you refer it to our team, or you reach out to us to get connected with someone else. There's EXP Military Network that if you're not in, once you're licensed, you should definitely be in. That gives you a nationwide referral network of military folks. I'm on the leadership team for that, for the national team. But, you know, the advantage for this is, you know, deals are typically closing 3 months or so down the road, if not 6, especially in the current marketplace. And so if you have a client that wants to transact, that you pulled out of cold calling and you set up a referral with them, you're likely getting paid 3 to 6 months from now. And if that's after your SkillBridge ends, you can get paid, right? So, and that's in any state in the US. You don't have to be licensed there. So like we've got the California numbers and the Florida numbers. If you call those hard, especially the expireds, all that type of stuff, and you set up a referral agreement and that referral closes after your internship is done, you can get paid. And so that's work that, you know, quite frankly, you're doing the upfront work. You're not doing anything after that, right? I mean, as a team, we've paid out about $250,000 in referral fees in the last 2 years. We've also created referral income for ourselves. So, I mean, there's referral clients that I've pulled just from Facebook conversations where literally it was a half an hour conversation max. Passed them off to the other agent. The other agent took care of them. We got a $5,000 plus check when it closed. I don't know about you guys, but $5,000 for half an hour worth of work, pretty good hourly rate to me, right? So those are things that you guys can do now to be prepping this. Again, our goal for all of you is that DoD is covering your pay now, that you're setting yourself up perfectly so that the day you walk out of this internship, you've got a book of business that you've been working on and you can start closing so that you don't do the normal realtor thing which is first closing 6 to 12 months after you start actually working in the industry, and you don't do the normal realtor thing, which is an 87% failure rate in the first 2 years. Right? We're doing everything we can to help you guys avoid that. So again, I know cold calling is uncomfortable, door knocking is uncomfortable, all that stuff. If you've gone back and watched our business planning session, your growth comes outside your comfort zone, right? There's a graphic on there that shows like the comfort zone and all that stuff. That's not where you grow as an individual, right? That's where you're comfortable. That's where you're exercising the muscle that you've already built. That's like going to the gym and doing the same thing over and over and going, I'm going to put on muscle mass. That's not how it works. You've got to get to a point of doing things that your body's not comfortable with. So the same thing in real estate. Keep doing the accountability checkouts. I do like seeing all those, obviously. If you're having issues with the Vulcan 7 stuff and LastPass, please make sure to get those resolved so that you can do the calls and start building that skill set.
I
We
was
do
actually
see
gonna
everyone
say,
reporting call numbers on there because that is
David.
one of your requirements. And then we are going to be, I don't think I released it yet. We'll be releasing some of the graphic stuff soon that we're finishing out with our staff for you guys to be able to post about PCSs and all that type of stuff. So we'll have that on there. You guys are on the team channels. Make sure that you're subscribed to marketing materials channel. If you
I don't
weren't
think you can hear
automatically
me.
added to that, make sure that you're on that. Because what I want you guys doing is anytime that stuff comes out, download those graphics, post them to Facebook, post them to Instagram, post them to whatever. And it's, as a team, we did XYZ. I may not have been able to hear you, Tosh. My speakers turn off every like 5 minutes if there's no audio coming out of them. So go ahead and talk. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm like, David.
Yeah,
David.
I can hear you now. Yeah, they had turned off on my side since I was talking.
Okay, I was just gonna say, I know there was at least one or two of you who has had problems with, your LastPass. So I'm gonna stay on here for a few minutes. I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted to say, David, but if not, I would like to spend the last 15 minutes. I would like, yeah,
Funny, Lonnie.
that was funny. I would like to spend the last 15 minutes, helping people work through issues. So if you're one of the people that have issues, I would like to use this last 15 minutes to do that. Otherwise, if David has nothing else, you all that are all set can jump off of here and then go about your day. But I'm gonna stay back for anybody who has any issues that they need to work through for LastPass or Vulcan 7. Are you good, David?
I'm good. I'll be here probably on mute just in case you need me, but I'm going to start
Okay.
working on other stuff too.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
I
Thanks,
do
Ed.
have a off-topic question, David and Tasha.
Shoot.
So I was at the Long Beach Grand Prix yesterday, and I came in contact with a Navy guy who I told him I just got my real estate license, and he's told me, "Oh, I'm trying to do my real estate license as well." And we got in the conversation. I told him that I'm doing SkillBridge real estate. He didn't even know it existed. Um, so now I got him on, and I'm in contact with him, and he's super interested. Now I told him about our group, and he's based out of Temecula,
Okay.
so super close, and so now he's interested in all. I know EXP has kind of like a little onboarding thing, but I'm just curious, is there any um benefit that I could receive from bringing him on either now or later, or does the DoD regulate that as well?
No, so that'll happen after.
I think he froze.
Yeah, it looks like he accidentally dropped out. Oh, there he is. You're on mute.
Not sure what happened there. So yeah, there's the benefit to receive benefits down the line. It'll be after you're done with your internship anyways. What you need to make sure that he does is just send him to the skillbridgere.com website. Tell him to fill out an application and make sure that he names you as the individual that introduced him to the program on his app. that can then gets put into our system. And our staff has been instructed to look at that when they onboard people out of the SkillBridge program. And so, you know, with you coming on to EXP with us, when he eventually joins and comes on to EXP, he would then name you. The goal is he would name you as his sponsor. Now, he still gets a choice, obviously, in that. There's no reason for him not to. And we talked them through that. We have had people before be like, well, why am I naming Zohar, for example, right? Zohar's in Hawaii. And I'm like, well, this is how we do our program. And by naming Zohar, you get access to Zohar, you get access to me, you get access to Tasha. Like, this isn't because you name Zohar, you don't get access to us, right? Because he was like, well, why don't I just name you guys? And so same thing will go for you, right? Like he names you, he gets access to you, then to us, then to all our business partners. So that would be the benefit long-term. And then he goes into what's called your revenue share organization. So that down the line, when he sells homes, right, commission comes to EXP, EXP shares some of that commission with you. Yep.
Great. Yeah, that's exciting. Because I was telling him, and when I told him that I'm doing SkillBridge for real estate, like he was like a dog. His ears went up like
Right.
that.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh no way, and he's super interested
Cool.
about it. So yeah, and then I figured, at least I thought that the DoD would probably like regulate that and be like, no, you know, you can't get any sort of bonus or anything like that. But no, that's definitely good to hear that in the long term.
Yep.
That I could build that up. So I appreciate that clarification.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have our program set up so that any of our partners can help people join our program and then come under them, right? For any of our business partners that we're with. So, you know, we call it white labeling the program, right? We looked at something in the very beginning of possibly creating these for other people that were interested, charging a fee, you know, to create a program for them, all that stuff. Logistically, it didn't make sense, and then we couldn't quality control it, right? Once we released it out. So this was just a better way to do it and control it.
Yeah.
David and Tasha. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I was just finishing up the conversation.
Good job chatting with them though.
Two side questions. So
Yeah.
I can do referrals right now then, right? Since I'm already licensed and still be paid as long as the close is post my SkillBridge end date.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. The only
And then-
thing that the fee talks about is you can't get paid for your work while you're in. So we can't be like, hey, we're going to pay you, but when you get out, you know, that's when we'll pay. And brokerages can't hold your commission. So literally, if